Happy Mondays, babies. Got a fresh start. The first Monday of the year. I'm vibing high. Are you vibing high? I don't say that I am high vibrational in any way to be condescending or to say that I'm more spiritual than anybody. Because there's an acceleration. Things are flying past us so fast these days. It's just an opportunity to dance, I guess, and to learn to move, to enter into a flow state, to fire. And the flames are our friends. And when the flames are your friends, you vibe high. He makes his winds his servants, and the flames of fire do his bidding. The wind and the flame, the wind of the flame, the wind of the flame. Here is a little bit of a mystical vein, isn't it? But there is a vein where the gold is hidden, you know? There is a place where you find out the worth and the treasure that's really in you, and a lot of times that's in the context of a crucible. Yes to the fire. Yes to the fire. So there's a transition that I found myself in, and I'm going from one place to another, and I'm not going to get into the specifics of that right now. And it's daunted me. And there's things that I'm letting go of, and there's sentimentality that's being sorely chafed in my life right now. And in these processes, it's easy to want to calculate and know exactly what to expect and where each foot's supposed to step. And when there's an acceleration going on, our minds just do not fare well with this type of swift activity. And so let us go from specifics to generalities, because all I know is that Song of Solomon chapter 2 verse 18 has been resounding in my heart for months, and it's now manifesting, and it's freaking me out. I'm delighting in it, but it's definitely got my attention. So when we're inundated with all of the practicalities and making sure everything's just so, and it gets to the place where we're overwhelmed, you got to fall back to the general, babies. You got to fall back to the vision that you're being faithful to, which is Song of Solomon chapter 2:18, the Son of Man, the lover, leaping and bounding across the hills. And just resting in the assurance that we are summoned to join him in that ascent, going from peak to peak, from hilltop to hilltop, from everlasting to everlasting, from strength to strength, from glory to glory, and by grace through grace to another grace. Is this the rapture? I think there's a lot of things that are written and a lot of things that we hold to eschatologically that maybe when it pans out, we are going to be surprised, and maybe it's been occurring and we're subject to it more than what we were looking for or what we expected it to be. So case in point, I've got a lot of letting go that is happening right now. There's a lot of shedding that's happening right now, and it's like a fire. It's like there's when you are subject to a fire, there's so many things that are consumed, and it's just like what really is held on to at the end are the things that are really of most value. There's a vein where the gold is hidden. There is a refiner's fire. Our God is a consuming fire, and the flames are our friends. Um, so, gosh, I had a dream last night. After I had a discussion with someone yesterday and worked over some particulars with this transition that I'm in. And when I woke up this morning, my cat was licking my mohawk. I slept in a recliner. He was sitting on the top of the recliner where I was sleeping, and I woke up to Butters licking my mohawk. And I cherish that moment. There's value here. In the context of the flame, in the context of shedding sentimentality, that when we have to let go of things, these precious moments that happen upon us, we just hold them in our heart, and nobody can take that away. That was an eternal reality. That endearing moment after having dreamed about Butters, honestly, and waking up to him licking my mohawk was really precious to me. I'm letting him go. And it aches my heart, along with a lot of other stuff. And in this dream that I had, I thought it was like a veterinary clinic that I was going to, but it was on a hill, and I had to climb a hill. And there's an asphalt incline that went up with a sidewalk, and then there's steps, and I took the steps up to this clinic, and I turned Butters over to, and it wasn't a clinic, but there were cheerful people there. There was a man with a beard that I thought he looked familiar, like a family member, but it didn't look exactly like him. But I'm associating with him with this certain family member of mine. But he was very friendly, and he shook my hand, and he was very loving and very concerned as I turned Butters over. And then I turned, and there was another little section of the room that we were in that had all of my old praise and worship CDs all categorized and in there, just stacked right there. And I think that's significant. There was an aspect of praise and worship. In other words, making an offering. And I'm not going to get into this theologically, because God's got me in this other place right now where when you talk about offering and sacrificing and laying things down, it's like we can, default in our minds to the Old Testament, taking the sacrifices to the altar, and, like my life is a burnt offering. Oh, refiner's fire. There is no sacrifice. I'm not going to get off into this theologically. But God doesn't require sacrifices. However, there is a shedding and letting go, and that's what I'm experiencing right now. And so I've got all these Vineyard and Hosanna music CDs in this corner that are all sitting there categorized. And if you're familiar with some of Vineyard's offerings from back in the 90s, they had the Touching the Father's Heart series, and each of the offerings with a different worship leader in that series of recordings came out as in different colors, all the rainbow colors. And I saw all my CDs, my music collection was down there, and it was all categorized by color. It was kind of a beautiful pattern. Whoever arranged my music selection had put them in this corner, and they were all sequentially colored and beautiful. And the idea, the interpretation is that I'm making an offering and God is in it. And mind you, not to get off theologically again, but God doesn't require sacrifices and offerings. So I get to keep Butters. We shall see. Abraham went to the mountain and told the folks, that he and Isaac were going up and they were going to worship, and then they were going to come back. It's that story. I think you're all familiar with that out of Genesis, that God wanted. I'm not going to break that down theologically either, but it's an account in the Bible that he was going to sacrifice his son Isaac, and then he didn't sacrifice his son Isaac, but his guts were laid bare, and he poured his heart out, and he wasn't holding anything back from the Lord. So, on my trip down the hill where that veterinary clinic was, or that temple, or whatever the heck it was, I was taking the steps down again, and I was like, what have I done? I had an emotional reaction. I was weeping in my dream. What have I done? Just the impact of the loss of my snuggle buddy was just very, very acute. And I want to segue this into somewhat of a tribute to my birth mother, Linda Shanley, because there is a parallel between me giving out butters and how I came into this world. Because I was put up for adoption immediately. My grandmother had pressured my mother to sever ties immediately and not even hold me when I came out of the womb, and to be taken right out of the delivery room. And that's had a lasting impact on me through my whole life, as far as like dealing with insecurities and things of that nature, and needs that I don't need to elaborate. It's shadow work, and it's things that I take care of privately. Thank you very much. But I remember Linda recounting to me these instances that I didn't know until I actually met her. I did the search for her, and I met her, and she started filling in blanks about my beginnings, and I understand that she was pressured by her mother to just cut ties with me, you know, not even hold me. There's no suckle, nothing. And I remember the tenor of her voice in this conversation where she had where she divulges this information to me. She said, "What have I done? What have I done?" Especially more acutely when she came to faith in Christ, and these emotions came to the front, and it started becoming something that she had to process and face. I have an understanding of Linda now. We are one. She's in the cloud. She left this world last year. And I have, as a tribute to her, as an honor to my birth mother, experiencing that dream of giving my cat away and the emotional, visceral reaction that I had, I understand. Which is a greater prize. A lot of times these lessons, this wisdom, this stature that we attain unto through these crucibles of life, are more precious to us than the things that we hold on to sentimentally. So I have a oneness, I have a regard, I have an endearment for my birth mother this morning, from having woken up from this dream with my cat licking my mohawk. What have I done? I can justify, I can calculate, I can bring all the practicalities in about why I'm moving the direction that I am, and why that Butters can't come along with me. It's gut level though. It's just visceral. I'm feeling it. It is what it is. And even my rearing and my beginnings and how I came into this world, there's no regret, no bitterness, no unforgiveness. And I'm learning through this understanding to accept it is what it is. And from that standpoint, we can actually move on into what God's called us to, and for the purpose that He has us in this world. But in the meantime, I am going to miss Butters tremendously. He's my snuggle buddy. He sleeps on my chest every morning. I wake up with him on my chest every morning, rather. And yeah. There's more details rushing to me. There's more instances and memories coming to me that I want to recount. And I think that I've said my piece in this video. There needs to be a dedicated video as a tribute to Linda. This is one of the CDs that's in my collection, by the way. This has got good memories on it. Linda bought this for me, actually. We went to a Christian bookstore in Traverse City in 1996, and she bought me this. And it's right prior to a lot of things between us going sideways, which resulted in our estrangement. But I cherish this David Ruiz Sweet Mercies worship CD because this music, Let It Burn. Oh my gosh, that's a track on here. Let It Burn. Let it burn. Welcome to fire, babies. Welcome to the fire. Let it burn. I entered in to the flame by the music on this CD at a time when all of the issues with my birth mother were right in front of me, overwhelming me in the 90s. And I became a burnt sacrifice. I became a burnt offering. The flames are our friends. I've learned subsequently, more articulately, by more grace, that the flames are our friends, and we can walk through situations like this with more dignity. But when you're facing the loss of a lot of things, it's easy to lose your composure and say and do regretful things. But like I said, I'm not going to make this a tribute to. I've got to do a dedicated tribute to Linda in another video, because I've been talking for 17 minutes. But yeah. Make friends with the flames, babies. They're for us.